What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So what I wanted to do was essentially try to document this whole process of throwing events here in Medellin, Colombia. So essentially what I'm doing is, if you haven't seen the couple of my last videos is I'm trying to essentially build like a social circle here from scratch, so that way not only you guys can see how it was done, but also maybe something you can apply yourself if you're coming to live here, but also as well you can see all my successes or my success and failures. Now essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking a lot of what I used to do when I worked at nightclubs in Miami, and I'm applying that here to building a social circle and, making friends and going from there. So one of the best ways to do that, if you have a problem just meeting people, is hosting events. Now, of course, I don't expect everyone to do this. And also one of the difficult things is that Medellin is not built like a Los Angeles, a New York, or Miami, or Las Vegas, in that sense of where there is a lot of things that you can do for free for women, i.e., comp dinner somewhere or comp table if you bring a certain amount of girls to a certain nightclub like there is in Las Vegas, or, there is no guest list really here in Medellin. If you want to go to a certain club, you got to show up before 10 o'clock and girls get in free. If not, then they got to pay. And there is no exception to that. Like, everyone's trying to make their money here. They don't really care so much, or the nightclub system here isn't really set up how it is in the United States, where everything is just catered towards women, where even sometimes, they'll have open bars for women from, let's say, 10 to 11, just so they can get a bunch of girls in the club early, or ladies' nights or whatever. So I've been trying to use certain contacts that I've made through different videos that I filmed for restaurants and stuff like that, and work something out with them. Now, I will say this, that you will have to pay, you're going to have to come out of pocket in order to host some of these events. And I definitely think it's worth it because, as I said, there is not really a system set up here yet where there's anything that is catering to bringing women to the club to get, guys there. Because in general, going out here is more of a group thing versus it's just single guys and single girls going out, and maybe the few groups here and there. So to update you guys where I am so far is I have done two events. One event where I essentially took a group of girls out bowling. I got 6 girls to come out. I maybe invited out like 10 or 15, and I got 6 that actually came and showed up, which one was a girl who already went out with me before, and that was it. So all the other ones were new. So that cost me maybe about $150. Now, it cost me $150, but what I got out of that was a bunch of contacts of girls and open threads on Instagram of girls I can now message and invite out to other events. But also, I had 6 girls now that have met me in person, had a good time with me, and will come out with me to other things that I host, or if I want to go out. Now, I'll say this, if you go out to a restaurant with just one girl, if you go to one of the top restaurants here, you can spend $150 just on dinner, and you're only essentially building rapport with only one girl, versus in this case, it was with 6. So, or, in some cases, some guys are spending that or more to go out and do the pay for play thing, and they get their little 10, 15 minutes, and then you are basically just out of $150 or more, whatever it is. So like tonight, one of the places that I'm going to, they essentially have a ladies' night there, but it's like 60% off. So essentially, what I did is I invited a bunch of girls to come to this place. Of course, they don't know that it's 60% off. And essentially, what I'm having them do is pay like 20 mil pesos each. And then I'm going to cover the rest, which shouldn't come out to too much. But I'm going to try to essentially document as much as I can. I am by myself. Unfortunately, I had 2 photographer friends that I invited out tonight. They both had plans or end up canceling, so which is fine. It would have been great if I would have had extra hands, but in this case, I'm going to be running solo, which is fine. And I would say doing the typical promoter thing or invite thing, I think I've maybe invited out like 20 girls, and I maybe will get 10. I had about 10 confirmed, but I'm pretty sure even out of that 10, there's going to be a few that will flake last minute or not show up. So whatever shows up tonight, essentially I'm going to be trying to build on that. So this is where we are. I'm going to finish getting ready and head out. I'm going to try to get there a little bit early so I could talk to the manager and figure out table and all that stuff. So that's it. All right, guys, so I am now headed over to the restaurant, and of course I got another cancellation, but as I said, it's expected. If you want 100 girls to come to an event, you got to invite 1,000. So I'm not surprised, not disappointed or anything like that. It is what it is. Even if I get 6 to show up, that's still a win for me, because that is now 6 more that I have to kind of put towards growing my social circle here in Medellin. So we'll update you guys once I get to the restaurant. The event starts at 8. It is about 6:49. Generally there's some traffic around this time, so I wanted to leave. My goal was to try to get there by 7:30. So I had a little bit of time before any of the girls show up, which I'm pretty sure they will show up late anyways. So I'll see you guys at the restaurant. Alright guys, so I finally made it here to the restaurant. I'm here a little early as I kind of planned for. It's about 7:25. I wanted to be here a little bit early just to make sure everything was set up. I know who my point of contact is, and this is the restaurant. If you watch my best restaurants of Medellin video, you will know that this was on my list. So it's not too hard to get a lot of girls that wanted to come to this restaurant to eat. So I'm going to show you guys the restaurant, the inside. They have some like little shots set up here. And then so they have this as our table right here. So this is going to be the table that we have, and then this is the restaurant. And then over here you got the bar. And then over here are these stairs. These are like popular stairs that a lot of girls like to take pictures at when they come in. So that is it. Basically, I am going to be a one-man team tonight, so I'm going to try to do my best between hosting, trying to entertain, and also trying to record content. So, as I said, the purpose of this video was to kind of help document essentially to help document the process.